So what I would suggest, right, we talk about this sort of reverse engineering, okay, where you start off there, put the club where you want it to be, throw him back, probably around about here, more to be fair, and then swing it back, and then swing it through, yeah? So you get the feeling of where you want to be, so your weight is all on that left side in this finished position, and then you draw it back, and then swing through that position again, yeah? Because as I said, it will feel a bit straighter. Your left foot has a tendency to turn in, possibly because you know it spins out. Makes sense, and if the foot's spinning out, you'll turn it in more, okay? But as you said, it puts a lot of pressure on your ankle. And the thing is now, golf shouldn't be a sport that hurts you, yeah? You're still young enough, fit enough and strong enough to swing. If your ankles are hurting, your back's sore, your hands are sore, you've got your thumb issue there now, the thought of playing 3 or 4 games in a week, somebody will be like, sort of that, yeah? It's not going to really appeal. You'll be like, no, I'm just not bother, yeah? You want to be able to get on the golf course and play and think, okay, the next day I feel fine. It shouldn't be like a contact sport. You played 90 minutes of football, like it was a rugby, and you got battered, and the next day in an ice bath, yeah? But I got guys I give lessons to, they're popping ibuprofen from the tee off, and you're like, that isn't right. That shouldn't be the way it should be, okay? You're putting, exactly, yeah. It's not a sport where you should be getting more injuries than you can care to think about, okay? So in terms of the movement you had, yeah, setup-wise, generally pretty good. Watch that foot does tend to creep in some. When I mentioned about that foot spinning out, it kept turning in more and more and more anyway. Yeah. Maybe kind of like an unconscious thing there, okay, as you swing the golf club, okay? But as you got to here now, you kind of completed a bit more of the swing with your arms and wrists there rather than your body. As you then came back to the golf ball, now you sort of started to move a little bit to the left here, but we want to get that left hip basically over towards that left, out of that left foot. Never really gets there. Now from this point, it's hanging back and never really gets anywhere near it. Sort of jumps further away, and then your top half, as you say, that from a medical standpoint is putting a lot of pressure on your lower back. Yeah. Your foot now is taking a lot more pressure on the toes, and your ankle now is sort of spinning out, which it kind of has to, because there's no weight on it, okay? When you swing it this way, sort of smaller, you can see the swing there. Now there's less pressure on your left ankle, your right foot's up on its toe more, and your back now is a lot straighter, yeah? And it does feel weird, no doubt. What you will find is you will probably move the body differently in a different way quicker, so the left shot will become less of an issue, so you'll find it just starts going more to the right, okay? The leaning back sends it left, the holding onto the club face that you did send it to the right. You'll change your body movement quite quickly, but you won't change the club face as quick. So putting that T in the fingers there and get that release of the T points up. So post impact, we're going to see the sort of handle about here somewhere. We want that T pointing up to the sky, yeah? So you've sort of released, almost like shake hands with the target, yeah? And that club face now, obviously feeling over your left shoulder there as you go through. So feet sometimes get a bit wide as well, just as a secondary reminder there, okay? But definitely that left foot needs to stay opened out. But then that movement now onto that left side, so you're effectively covering the ball, getting your chest and your torso kind of on top of the ball a bit more, rather than this leaning back. In some ways, kind of more of a medical issue, to be fair. I think the thing is, if you start playing lots of golf now, you're a sporty lad, you can swing the golf club reasonably well, you would kind of find a way of getting better with this method and scoring okay, but then it'd be harder to unlearn that movement than it is now to sort of think, okay, right, that's going to cause me some issues now, let's change it now, so when I'm 20 years down the line, I'm swinging now with a swing. Obviously, this back was going to look very, very short because we were doing smaller swings. I think, yeah. But at least when you finish the golf swing, there's a lot less pressure on your back, yeah? Now, that's obviously hitting a golf ball. There's still a little bit more with that spine slightly, but at least you're more up on your toe there. The foot staying down on the ground because there's more weight on it, okay? So I practice that foot movement about when you're brushing your teeth. Just stand there and just get that lead, get to pull around out of the way. Just get that feeling of how this hip works. So this just becomes what you do naturally without any thought. And then in terms of swing-wise, practice sort of making some swings where you just sort of swing it back to here and then really get that kind of feeling of shifting into that left side more, so you're putting more pressure onto that left foot, thumb sort of, or hand shaking the target with that teeth peg pointing up, so you start controlling that golf club here, not hanging on to it kind of thing, because I don't want to go miles left, yeah? And then at least then when you hit the ground, it'll be a good thing, because you'll be hitting the ball here and then the ground will be afterwards, yeah? Whereas at the moment now, you lean back here, if that's the ball here, there somewhere, you're hitting the ground somewhere behind the ball there, and then you just end up missing the ground, which is a very, very small margin of error now, because the ball's only got about that much hitting air anyway, and if you can't hit the ground because of that thin, then you're really going to be fighting a losing battle, buddy. Okay, does that make sense then, yeah?
Absolutely.
So things to work on there, obviously you've got to get yourself moving a bit more to the left, okay? Get that weight onto that left side, get those thumbs sort of, or that T-peg pointing up as you release the club better. And just, again, it's learning that feeling of impact. Get that ball flying a bit straighter and obviously more consistently, rather than having a two-way miss and not knowing which was going to win. And during a round of golf, one will win more than the other one as you get tired, warmed up and fatigued. Yeah. And then, of course, then you just where you aim. Good luck with that one. Okay, mate?